Shalom. I want to start off this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua Bahashim Rakakudash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in grace and peace, to elect around the four winds, believing and pushing His truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rakaya, from the GMS Orlando camp. And I caught this interesting video earlier this week from Earn Your Leisure, and it's entitled, "Do Black People Need to Code Switch to Become Successful?" And I just want to bring out a few interesting points or a few interesting statements that were made in this video. Lord, when this is edifying unto your elect. All right, now, I actually want to start off with the definition of what it means to code switch, just in case you don't know. This is from the Urban Dictionary. All right, code switching. It means to customize style of speech to the audience or group being addressed, i.e., she talks street to her friends at school, but when she's with her family, she is code switching and speaks proper English. All right, and basically what it means to code switch, it means to change up your dialect, your manner of speech and or your actions, all right, around a certain group of people. And mainly code switching happens when Israelites, all right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians get around Esau, all right, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right, they feel the need to change up their diction, their slang or their speech patterns, and their actions to fit the room and the audience they're around. Which showcases that this is not our world. The fact that our people feel the need to code switch is a prime example of how this is not our world. Speaking to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians, man. All right, this is not our world. Because, like, the gentleman on the left-hand side is going to make the statement, all right, our people only code switch because we're not in a position of power. If we were in a position of power, we would set the standard on what diction is. We would set the standard on actions, on how to conduct yourself, on slang, on speech patterns. We would set that standard. But the fact is, we're still in the land of our captivity. All right, we're still under the rule of these devils, Esau, Edom. All right, therefore, everything goes to the beat of their drum. All right, like it says in Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. But that's all soon going to change, man. All right, but one thing you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians have to understand is that this is not our world. This present state that we find ourselves in is temporary. All right, this is a temporary dwelling place. This was the America was meant to be a temporary dwelling place for our people. All right, so that we will repent and get ourselves right with the Heavenly Father, so that we might receive the blessings and the promises that were promised to our forefathers. All right, but America, all right, is here for a temporary stay. This is not our resting place. All right, let me get this. In Micah chapter 2, verse 10, it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." All right, and this is not our rest. America is not our rest. And if that isn't evident by now, all right, then you're the problem. All right, maybe you're a part of the problem. Matter of fact, it's not a maybe. You are a part of the problem if you can't see that America is not our resting place. From the laws that are passed here, from the way that our people are treated, both old, young, maids, little children, from the way our people are being miseducated, mistreated, led down the hole of wickedness. If you can't tell that this is not our rest, you are the problem, and the Lord is coming to cut you off. All right, but Micah 2:10 says, "Arise ye and depart," all right, mentally and spiritually, It says, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction. All right, and this place is polluted. Every facet of this society is polluted. And as long as our people choose to align themselves, with this beast, all right, they're gonna meet themselves with a sword of destruction. They're gonna continue to destroy themselves. But let's get this video. And I'm going to skip around a little bit, get some points from here and there, and then we're going to grab a couple of precepts. Lord wants us edifying unto you elect. All right, but the main point being, this is not our world. All right, this world was created for many. Matter of fact, let's get that before we get into the video. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 8, and verse 1. It says, and he answered me, saying, the Most High have made this world for many, but the world to come for few. All right, and this world was made for many. This world was made for everybody, all right, that dwells therein, that doesn't have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, this adulterous culture, this rebellious culture, this crash out culture, this black, Latino, and native culture was created for many. But the world to come was created for few. All right, the few that see, that are sighing and crying for the abominations that are being done in the midst. All right, for the few that see the problem with this current rulership. That's who the world to come is for, man. And we see the problem with this rulership, and this may seem like a small thing, code switching, but it ultimately leads up to the bigger problem. That this is not our world, that we're still captive. But let's get into it.
Go buy it if you haven't read it.
On Amazon right now.
I never plan on saying that, to be honest. But my mother taught me at a young age. I had a story in there where my mother had two voices, and I said this to her one time. She looked at me crazy. I was like, Mom, when you have on makeup, you're nice. And when you don't have your makeup, I think I'm going to get a whooping at any given moment. My mom was 6 foot tall, so I was scared of her until I was like 15, like frightened. And she had two voices, though. She had the voice at home, and then we went out to work. She had the other voice. And I think as African Americans, we all have that. You got to switch it up. And so the code switching, thank you. And so Andrew Bogut he said to me, he's like, Andrew, why do you talk different to like your black teammates, and then you talk different when you're talking to...
And the reason why Jake does that is because they want to be accepted, all right, in the rooms that they find themselves in. They want to be accepted within Esau's corporate ladder. They want to be accepted, and they want to be able to rise within the ranks of Esau's ladder. So they change up and they switch up the way they conduct themselves and the way they speak. All right, which is why the Lord said this in Jeremiah 2 and verse 33. Our people are trimming their ways to seek love from the so-called white man. This is Jeremiah 2 and 33. It says, why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore has I taught the wicked one thy ways. All right, and why do our people trim their way to seek love? Because ultimately, when it really boils down to it, Esau is their God. And they don't see any other way out but through Esau. They don't see another way out of their poverty-stricken situation. They don't see another way out of their generational curse. They don't see a way out of the ghetto or the hood, or they don't see a way out of their family curse unless they trim their way to fit in and to align with Esau's system. And we see our people do it on a daily basis. They trim their way to get into colleges. They put on that, they put on their best Edomite voice, tuck their shirt in, wear them hard bottom shoes, put on some slacks, or maybe even to put on that monkey suit. Oh, you see them do it to get one of these high-paying jobs. We see it all the time, man. Our people trim their way to seek love from the so-called white man, but what they fail to understand is that the so-called white man didn't put us in this predicament. The Heavenly Father put us in this predicament, and he's the only one that's going to be able to get us out. The so-called white man is not our redeemer. He's not going to redeem us, all right, from our present state. Yahweh Shai is. Simple. But let's get back to it.
to like, white people. And I couldn't quite explain it to him, but I was trying to explain to him, like, my mother, when we went to go, she was on the phone. I remember the phone conversation, talking to this guy about a house rental. We used to rent this small 2-bedroom apartment. Like, I went in there like maybe 10 years ago. The house is not available. So from that moment, like, available to you. She took my brother and myself with her to see this, to get the house. And so we pulled up, knock on the door. He answers the door. He's like, "Can I?" And I'm like, my brother and I, how do we live in this space together? He's the same height as me. And the guy approved the rental. Like, yes, it's available to you. She took my brother and myself with her to see this, to get the house. And so we pulled up, knock on the door. He answers the door. He's like, "Can I help you?" She was like, "Yes, I'm the lady you spoke to on the phone." But her voice, he couldn't tell what it was. The house is not available. So from that moment, like I understood like how the world works. Like, whoa. And I'm like,
And when that happens, a lot of Jakes tend to see that as a door closing. When ultimately, we don't want to be around these devils in the first place. We shouldn't want to be around these devils. All right, because like it says in Sirach 12 and 10, all right, never trust thine enemy. But that whole Martin Lucifer, the Queen spirit, has been saturated into our people, man, to where they seek the love of the so-called white man, even though he beats them down, even though he shows them that he hates them. They still want to be in these rooms. They still want to be amongst his presence. They still want to eat of his delicacies, instead of seeking after the delicacies that were placed in front of us by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Instead of drinking water out of our own cisterns, our people seek out the cisterns of these other nations, chiefly the cistern of the so-called white man, because they think it's the fountain of youth. Not realizing that Esau has been given a temporal blessing, and it's crumbling right before our eyes.
9 years old. Like, who understands that at 9 years old? And like, it's just like what you're saying. It's like, how low can you go what can you lose when you don't
This is a lesson that a lot of our people learn at a very young age. A lot of, Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians learn the way that this world works through these different experiences. You learn at a very young age that this isn't our world, that we have to work 10 times as hard just to be accepted, whilst our peers show off mediocrity. But mediocrity is not accepted within our nation, within our children. When you're growing up, your parents teach you or train and try to beat into you, to become this doctor, this lawyer, this amazing citizen, this amazing, had to have this amazing job and to have these amazing degrees, and that takes, and in order to do that, you have to be exceptional. You have to be the best. And that's beat into our people, into our, our people's heads from a young age, after they experience these things, that if they want to get anywhere, any type of ahead in the society, they have to apply themselves to this system. And they have to be better than their counterparts, because their counterparts can put out mediocre work and be accepted because this is their world. But in order to be accepted in Esau's world, you got to put out extraordinary work. You have to be the best in your class. You have to be an exceptional character, which is exactly what the enemy wants, because as long as our people are trimming their way to seek his love, and applying themselves to his system, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua goes for, they forbear their power, their true power.
Anything to lose. And so that leads me to now, I still have to maneuver how I speak. I have to be more PC in some places. I can turn it down to other places. Like, I'm thinking, we always want to stay ourselves, but are you thinking about how you plan on maneuvering once you get into certain places? And like, what's your thoughts on it?
I think
And these are, outtakes from Jakes who have been able to make it some level, not no real pivotal, no pivotal level, but they've made it some into some level of success within Esau's, system. And these are their outtakes, as they enter into these different rooms, as they climb the ladder, so to speak. They realize that the same stigma is still there. The same problems is still there. The same code switching still has to take place. You don't get to be yourself as you climb up the ranks of Esau Edom. Rather, you have to trim your way even more.
The only thing I can change is like I probably curse less in certain places, but that's just the truth. But like anything else, when
Give this Jake.
you're worried, and
I never really had to worry about code switching.
Tommy, he really Tommy.
Because you only code switch when you're not in a position of power. Elon Musk can curse on.
And that's it. All right, let's run it back.
Never really had to worry about code switching.
Tommy, he really Tommy.
Because you only code switch when you're not in a position of power. Elon Musk can
And
curse.
that's it. You only code switch. You only trim your way when you're not in a position of power. All right, now let's get this. Because we are in a position of power. All right, the so-called white man has been given the position of power for this time being. All right. This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10 and verse 4 says, "The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable." All right, and right now, all right, the Lord has given over the power of the earth into the hands of the wicked. All right, like it says in Job 9:24. All right, but in due time, all right, the world is going to be into the hands of the righteous ruler. All right, those who are meant to rule, starting with Yahweh Shai and his elect. All right. Excuse me. Well, you only code switch when you're not in a position of power. All right. Right now, we're not in that position of power. All right. To where we can be who the Lord called us to be. We're under the rulership right now, or the power of this unwise judge, But let's get back to it.
Curse on TV, and it's okay. That's a fact. So, but
They got finger snaps on that joint. That was crazy. yeah.
for sure.
Harlem Renaissance in here.
But what I did realize when I was working as a financial advisor in my office, everybody in my office was pretty much older white men, and in the beginning, everybody else in the office, but I realized that what I thought might have been a disadvantage was actually a superpower, and that's be intelligent. And it is important to have a strong mastery of the language that you speak. So, it's like you don't wear a jumpsuit to a wedding. It's just common sense. So how you communicate in a barbershop might not be how you communicate.
I don't know. He talking about the Batman suit that Jaden wore.
I think it's just a matter of just knowing how to communicate properly, not necessarily code switching. I don't like code switching. I'll never code switch. But Steve Stouts told us something that was extremely important. I think that this has been the key to Earn Your Leisure success. It's the thinnest slice strategy. When you're black, you have to deal with a variety of different things that other people don't have to deal with or don't worry about. So for us, we walk a very thin line, because most people that are on TV that are communicating finances that are black they're not relatable to the majority of black people, right? How they talk, how they look, whatever. And then there's a variety of different people in our culture of hip hop that aren't taken serious in the business world, right? So we have to be articulate enough to be respected at the highest levels of finance, to be here, right? But we also have to be edgy enough to still be likable, appealable, and relatable to the masses. That's extremely difficult. Very few people have been able to pull that one off. And that's something that we do. This is just a blessing that we've been blessed with, but this is something.
It's really, and we know that's not a blessing. As the scriptures say, they have reigned like kings without us. And this is their temporal blessing. Like it says in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. They received gifts, but it wasn't of the Lord.
That when you're thinking about, your pathway forward, it's important because a lot of times when we get isolated in circles that we're in, but we can never forget about the overarching theme of black people. And no matter how good we're doing individually, nobody's successful if the vast majority of people are unsuccessful.
And that's the key. That's a mindset, ultimately that's been restored into us through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That mindset is that no matter how good, or how exceptional some people are within our ranks, within our nation, that doesn't mean that, everybody is that same way. We're not good until all of Israel is good, basically. We're not good until all of our nation is good. That's how the scriptures speak about the commonwealth of the nation of Israel. That's when things are really going to be good. Right now, you got a few people that's doing good, so-called good amongst our people. But it's ultimately not able to be enjoyed because the rest of our people are like crabs in a barrel. And as soon as that one person around them gets a little bit of so-called success in this world, they're trying to pull them down because they want it. They need it. They're trying to get out of their own hellish conditions. So we're not going to be good until our whole nation is good. Hey, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Hey, but it's like Yahushua is in the same mindset. Yahushua said what? I shall not drink wine until I drink it new with you in the kingdom. He's not going to celebrate, until the elect celebrate with him, till his brethren celebrate with him, till that victory is shared amongst his people. You feel what I'm saying? But let's keep it going.
And the vast majority of people are struggling. So it's important to keep relatability. It's important to be able to communicate to the masses while still having your integrity. And
like he said, that's a very hard thing to do. And I dare say it's impossible to do, to maintain your integrity in the society whilst climbing the ladder of Esau Edom. Eventually, along that ladder is going to be a stumbling block for you. It's going to be an opportunity for you to compromise your integrity in order to climb that ladder. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck on the same rung forever. But ultimately, I want to grab this because although this isn't our world, our world is coming and our world is being prepared. For us right now. The world where we don't have to code switch, a world where we are going to be in the position of power, to where the standards are going to be set upon our nation. That standard being righteousness. The time is going to come where we can be ourselves. We can be ourselves. We can be men without unapologetically. We can follow the Lord unapologetically. We can love righteousness unapologetically. Our world is coming. And it's coming quick. This is 2nd Ezra 8:51. But understand thou for thyself and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. For unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready, a city is builded, and rest is allowed. Yeah, perfect goodness and wisdom. And that's what our people need ultimately is rest. Our people are tired, they've been worn out. This game that they play daily with Esau Edom, code switching, trying to be the most exceptional in their field. Also the while maintaining their integrity amongst their peers. It's a fucking game. It's a fucking game. And it's tiring. But the kingdom that's being prepared is going to allow rest for our people. It says, the root of evil is sealed up from you, weakness and the moth is hid from you, and corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. All right, sorrows are past, and in the end issued the treasure of immortality. All right, and this is what we have to look forward to. All right, this is what we're fighting and toiling for now. All right, the world to come, because we realize through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and through wisdom that this isn't our world, and that we're not going to get a foothold in this world, because the Lord has intended to destroy this world. So our stake is in the world to come. So with that being said, we want to satisfy unto you elect. Shalom. Stay up.